You're probably wondering how we got here. In the chaos of a high-threat mission in the Red Sea, a $60 million U.S. Navy fighter jet vanished overboard. How does a cutting-edge Super Hornet just fall into the ocean? Let's dive in. The USS Harry S. Truman, a 100,000-ton symbol of American naval power, was operating deep in the Red Sea. But this wasn't a routine cruise. The ship and her strike group were on high alert, navigating one of the most dangerous maritime zones in the world. As you know, in recent months, the waters off Yemen have become a battlefield. The Iran-backed Houthis have launched wave after wave of drone and missile attacks, each one probing for a weakness, each one daring the Truman to make a mistake. On this particular day, sailors aboard the Truman were performing normal operations inside the hangar bay. One of the Navy's workhorses, an F/A-18E Super Hornet, was carefully being towed by a move crew. Inch by inch, they guided this $60 million fighter towards a safe parking position. Then, without warning, the situation changed. Incoming Houthi missiles and drones were detected. The Truman's captain had seconds to react. To evade a potential direct hit, the massive carrier initiated a hard, evasive maneuver, an aggressive turn designed to throw off enemy targeting. As the Truman heeled over, the sailors towing the Super Hornet fought to control the jet. But they were battling not just momentum, but the full fury of physics itself. The ship's sharp roll and shift sent a tidal force of momentum through the hangar deck. And despite desperate efforts to secure it, the tow tractor and the F/A-18 began to slide. In a matter of heartbeats, 60,000 pounds of fighter jet and towing gear were ripped from the deck and plunged overboard into the Red Sea. Now, fortunately, the move crew had moments to react, pulling clear just before the massive aircraft disappeared into the waves. One sailor sustained a minor injury, but most importantly, all personnel survived. I want to make that very clear. Now here's the reality of war. And make no mistake, this is a war zone. Well, when you're in the middle of a war zone and under missile attack, even the most advanced Navy in the world can lose a $60 million fighter jet in the blink of an eye. But what caused this chaos wasn't just bad luck. It was the brutal reality of operating in a combat zone where threats come without warning, and every second counts. Now, unfortunately, the loss of the Super Hornet wasn't an isolated fluke. It's a symptom of a much larger, much deadlier storm that's brewing across the Red Sea. For months now, the USS Truman Strike Group and every other American or Allied vessel in the region has been locked in a dangerous high-stakes game with the Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Armed with Iranian drones, cruise missiles, and anti-H-ship weapons, the Houthis have transformed the Red Sea from a critical global trade route into an active war zone. And these aren't just random shots in the dark anymore. They're coordinated, escalating, and aimed directly at American ships. Now, unfortunately, the Truman Strike Group's deployment reads like a checklist of near disasters. In February, the Truman collides with the merchant vessel while maneuvering under threat. In December, an F/A-18 Super Hornet from the Truman is mistakenly shot down by the USS Gettysburg. And now, of course, we have the Super Hornet falling into the ocean. And ongoing, we have relentless Houthi missile and drone attacks that are hammering U.S. naval positions. Here's the reality. Each incident chips away at readiness. Each emergency maneuver risks lives and equipment. The margin for error is razor thin. And the chaotic seas off of Yemen. Even a tiny mistake can have catastrophic consequences. Now, the threat isn't just the missiles that you see coming. It's the constant grinding pressure. The 247 fight to stay one step ahead to anticipate the next attack before it materializes. And when sailors are forced to operate under these conditions for days, weeks, and then months, well, fatigue and chaos begin to creep in. And unfortunately, that's when things start to break, whether it's steel or the human spirit. And I'm not saying that the spirit of these sailors is broken. I'm just saying it's putting an incredible strain on all crew members. Now, of course, the Truman Strike Group has survived every attack so far. But at what cost? And losing a $60 million jet is only the beginning, because the longer this shadow war drags on, the higher price we're going to pay. Now, after finding out that everybody's okay, when a fighter jet falls into the sea, the next thing most people think about is the money. And they're not wrong. A single F/A-18 Super Hornet, as you know, carries a price tag of more than $60 million. But the real cost isn't just measured in dollars and cents. It's measured in trust, in morale, in the strain that's placed on every sailor who watches another piece of their fighting strength slip away. And with these longer deployments, every emergency maneuver, every collision, every evasive action burns through the precious resilience of the fleet. And when the sea takes a fighter jet, it's not just the machine that's lost, it's months, years of training. And to all you maintainers out there, it's the sweat equity that you put in to keep these birds flying. It's the pride of the pilots who called that jet home. And here's the uncomfortable question that no one wants to talk about. If the Houthis can force a 12 billion carrier strike group into the defensive, well, what happens next? Because losing one Super Hornet might just seem survivable today. But if the pressure keeps rising, if the pattern continues, the next thing we lose might be far more than just an aircraft. And I hope I'm wrong on that one. Now let's look at what happens next. The moment that Super Hornet slipped beneath the waves, a new operation began. Not a combat mission, but an investigation. Now, the U.S. Navy's already launched a full inquiry into exactly what happened aboard the USS Truman that day. And as you know, every tow line, every anchor point, every evasive maneuver is now under the microscope. The investigators are going to have to ask the hard questions. Were standard towing procedures followed? Did the crew have enough warning before the ship turned hard? Was the emergency maneuver necessary or avoidable? But deeper than technical reports and checklist reviews lies a bigger, more urgent question. How sustainable is this kind of constant high-pressure warfare at sea? Day after day, under threat from drones, missiles, and asymmetric attacks, that margin for error shrinks. Training can prepare you for battle, but what prepares you for an endless siege? Now today, the Truman Strike Group remains mission-capable. But as threats grow bolder and the tempo of battle accelerates, a hidden toll mounts. And in the unforgiving waters of the Red Sea, only one thing is certain. You can replace planes, you can repair ships, but some things once lost are gone forever. Now, at the end of the day, the loss of a $60 million Super Hornet is just the most visible part of the story. Because what's really happening out here day after day and night after night is a battle of endurance. A battle not just against drones and missiles, but against fatigue, against pressure, against a relentless grind that wears even the strongest steel thin. The brave men and women of the USS Truman Strike Group are holding the line, not just with technology, but with their courage, their grit, and their sacrifice. Every sailor on that flight deck knows the risks. Every crew chief guiding a jet undertow knows how fast things can go wrong. And yet, they keep showing up, they keep fighting. They keep standing their watch. Because in today's battle space, war threats come fast, low, and unpredictable. It's not just about what you fly, it's about that will to endure. And in a world where danger can strike at any moment, dominance isn't just about firepower. It's about resilience. And resilience is something that no enemy missile, no drone, and no stormy sea can ever take away from America's fighting spirit. If you stand with the men and women who keep these decks alive, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. And if you want to know what happens when the skies over the Red Sea turn even darker, stay tuned. Make sure you check out my next few videos. Back in December, I did a video on the shootdown of the Hornet by the USS Gettysburg. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. This is Tog. Thanks for watching. And now you know, pilotphototog.com.